I got one. All we're really worried about is the 2 5/8. Dang it, I forgot my screwdriver. Hello? Anybody here? And just kind of held it there. Now find a slick pulley, and now my hand's stuck. That didn't work. All right, be careful. Just use the ratchet. Trust me on that. I'm such a bad video person. Step 1, remove your battery. Ground first. This is the part where if I had employees, I would tell them to raise the lift up so I don't have to crawl out of here, but I'll go back the way I came in. What am I looking at? 99 to 04 Grand Cherokee. If you see I have an engine, I'm going to be step for step trying to make sure I don't miss anything, telling you how to do a motor swap. And that's what I was just sitting here thinking. If you go by labor claims, I think the book calls for between like 8 to 12 hours, depends on what book you read. But hand on the Bible, if there's no camera, I've done these easy in between 3 to 4 hours. And I know for a fact in a day's time, like a 6-hour shift I would work, I can back it in, change the motor, drive it, and have it back to the customer within 6 hours. So if I show you a trick and you think that it's not the way to do it, you just have to trust me, because if I'm like going in a third of what they're saying it needs to be charged for, I must have something figured out. So don't have to have a lift. I just have a lift. It makes it easier to show you tricks and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the bottom side, and I've never done an exact video like this. I'm gonna try not to miss something, but let's get started. 99 to 04 will basically be the same engine. Only thing they really changed, I think they changed this coil pack in 99. They changed this oil sensor like 99 to 01, then 02, and then 03 and 04. All those are different, so that's easily just screw in, and then you just change the coil pack. 99 sticks straight out, the rest of them stick straight down. They will not run with the wrong coil pack. It'll backfire and all that stuff. If you had the motor out, I would go ahead and do a water pump, thermostat, and gasket. It's so much easier right now. It's worth your time, trust me. And like your air conditioning, if your air conditioning worked, I would use your compressor. And then, let's see, I think this throttle position sensor changed like in 04, I believe. That's basically the only thing they changed on these motors. The harness will connect different back here. Other than that, shouldn't be nothing to change. Should be swap in. Oh, just depends on your year model, but they changed the O2 sensors. Some will have 2 right here, and then they'll have a pre-cats. I hope yours doesn't. I'll show you why in a second. And then you'll have 2 down there. So that's pretty much the difference. Ignore that JB Weld right there. So let's get started. This one's 2-wheel drive, but it's basically the exact same process as a 4-wheel drive. And I basically don't have any special tools. The only special tool that I have is a really long extension. Like, it's really long. So other than that, just basic tools. All right, first thing I would do if I was you is grab you a can of PB. And I don't know if I can get the camera up there. This one has pre-cats. You can see a hole in the oil pan. This needs the motor. Just gonna spray on top of them. Hope you can see. Hope it's not going on the camera. There'll be 2 on this cat and then 2 on that cat right there. Just spray the heck out of this stuff and let it be soaking. Hopefully yours is not a rust bucket, because you may have to do an alternate disassembly at this point. I just prefer PB. That's just what I've had good luck with. I'm sure there's other things on the market. Now next, this will make sense. The O2 sensors right here. These little black things, you just kind of wiggle them sideways and they'll come apart. Let your wires come down. Same thing right there. You just twist them sideways, or a flathead will make it easier. Now the O2 sensors, which are probably going to be junk if your motor's bad. That red tab right there, you just slide it down, squeeze, red tab, slide it back, squeeze. Sometimes if they're dirty, they're aggravating. So that's that. Now your harness is loose, so I'm going to go ahead and just tuck it up that way in case when we get on top it'll make more sense. Now while we're here, right here, this little thing, if you've got these pre-cats, see, like I said, the O2s are going to be junk, so I'm just going to pull it past there and we'll worry about that later. Now next thing is transmission lines. You'll see it'll make sense. More than likely, if yours is factory, it's going to have like a squeezy clamps. This one, somebody's installed screw clamps, which is okay, whatever preferred choice. And let's see, I'm going to undo them at opposite locations, and it'll make sense in just a second. When you go to pull the radiator, it'll make perfect sense. Just gonna slide the clamp back to make sure it's off. These are gonna leak, so get you a pan. So now, gonna get you a pair of pliers, and usually you can see it's enlarged right there. Squeeze right beside it and pull. Them had to come off anyway, so get it almost to the point that it's about to fall off. Well, this one don't have no transmission. Didn't work, but I'm gonna leave it right there. Now, the opposite one, we'll take it off at the other side. There we go. Yep, a little bit of leakage going on. Now what I'm gonna do is take this hose, turn it around, stick it over this one. Now I'm gonna take this one, stick it over this one. You could clamp it if you felt like it, but this should do the trick. So that's it under here. You can obviously do more if you want to, but I'm gonna start on the top. Well, one more thing. The bumper is gonna be coming off. Trust me, it's easier. They've usually got these little things, go about halfway. You can use a flathead if you don't have it. This one is aftermarket, just sticks in there, and that's a factory one right there. So that'll be that, and you could do the bolts. I'll show you a different angle. You may have seen it in the startup scene, but it is 3:06, so I would have started about 3 o'clock. Like I said, camera usually takes about double. So right along in this area, there's usually 3 little tabs, and you have to get something like this, or side cutters or something, but you just have to twist them and break them until they come loose. But you see, somebody's already trimmed on this one, so 10 millimeter. It should look like a wood bolt. And what I do is I got pans that's like categories, like this would be front clip removal, maybe this is like radiator and stuff. Then when it gets more serious, I have other pans. If you want to lay them out individually, you can, but surely I said in the first of the video, I've done, gosh, probably 400 or 500 of these swaps, so know a few things. Let me get that other bolt out, we'll drop her down and start there. All right, next step to get the front clip off is the grill. These bolts kind of hold the grill and the bumper in at the same time, but it depends on your year model. If it's 04, the grill snaps up here. Some limiteds, the bumper is made to the grill, some limiteds they ain't. So no particular pattern, but should be 7 of these 7 millimeters. And they could be a Phillips head as well. So that should have the bumper ready to come off. If you got fog lights, go ahead and unplug them because you're going to be hanging by the wires. There we go. This one probably has never been off. They've got some little hooks right here. Just look for them. All right, next we're going to be removing this piece right here. This is your temperature sensor for your gauge, your end cap. These little things, I use these all the time, but you can just use a pair of pliers. There's a wire stuck right there. And then this is just a squeezy one, but it's really hard. So throw that down there. Now we need a T30. All right, right below the headlight, there'll be a T30. Should be dead center. There's 2 side by side each other. Below this headlight, there's another one. And then right up here on top, there's a little piece. These are really common to break. The plastic part is. And there's 2 right here. And that one is broke. So keep up with these bolts. If you want to, I like laying them right here beside the fender. I'll go ahead and do it. We'll just leave them laying there. They should stay there. So that's got the part right here that holds the headlights ready to come off. When it does, there's going to be the connectors for the headlights. So if you got somebody to help you hold it, that would help, but you can do it. There's a tab here and a tab here. If yours has never been took off, it snaps in from the factory and won't fall back off. So you physically have to break it. So if you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts out, then you should be ready to come out. So this one's just going to fall out. That one's semi-broke. So now, I'm going to let this hang. Don't do yours. I've just got Jeeps to fix mine if it don't. Same little red tab here. This one you got to push. Let me get y'all in closer. All right, can we see? I'm going to go ahead and break it loose. You don't have to. So we should be able to see this one is so aggravating. You got to push it sideways. So there's a gap right there. And then just a really good squeeze and a wiggle. Same thing on this side. I'll go ahead and apologize. They're just very frustrating. I think that's why I've got carpal tunnel in my hands. It's cross-layer connected. We'll get this out of the way. All right, real quickly, wanted to update or interrupt this video. Just one thing, like I started short videos before I started YouTube videos, and dealing with what is called analytics. Like, this is what you're dealing with this generation. If you see my phone, this is how people watch videos. So I'm so used to just like trying to stay so focused on keeping people focused that I'm scared to post videos that are like slower and drug out. So if you do watch this, or at least watch half of it, and don't care to leave a comment on if you think I should slow down, stay the same, or just express your opinion. So it would help me out a whole lot just to get y'all's feedback on what to do. So hope these tutorial videos work, and I'd like to make more of them. So teach you what I know, but anyways, back to it. Just don't forget to comment something. Now at this point, I would drain the coolant and be ready, because it's not going to go where you plan on it. Now that you got access, it's right here on the corner. There's some that are quarter turns, there's some that are screw in. So I'm not going to video it because you never know what yours is going to be. Yeah, this is black water. There we go. So there's a little air dam shield under here, whatever that's called. You may have to bend it, or like I put a rag, stick it up in there, because it'll catch that and run way over here, and every time you lift it up it goes that way. So hopefully that should catch all of our water, more nastiness. And then I would remove the cap. Well, I like that speed. I'm just going to leave it alone. If you pull that cap off, it's liable just to go shooting everywhere. So I'm going to let that drain. I'm such a bad video person. Step one, remove your battery. Ground first. So I'm going to let that drain so y'all ain't having to listen to the annoying audio, and then we'll pick back up on this. All right, it's mostly drained. I'm just going to go ahead and shut that off there just so we're not listening to it. It doesn't have to be 100% dry. Plus this one's getting a radiator anyway, so that's shut off. This one luckily didn't have Freon. That's a touchy subject. Do that how you want, but AC has to be undone on a WJ. There just ain't really a way around it. I guess you could, but the AC lines run across the top of the motor and across the bottom of the motor, so it would be very difficult. Go ahead and change the ends while he's off camera. So now let's see. Go back to our T30 before we change it. Right here, this little bracket, just trust me, take it off. 2 T30s there. I'm going to store them up here with those. And then 2 T30s right here. We'll lay them up there. Now this is a 13 millimeter. If you're real good, you can, when you take this, you can see where the washer's lined up. And this is adjustable, so when you're going back together, if you watch that, you should be able to just line it back up. And WJs are known right here for this part breaking and falling through. Can't get the hood up, so when going back together, I might show you a trick there. We'll just lay these over there. Now we can remove these pieces. Now I've stepped up to my bigger gun. This 10 should be right there. Somebody's moved it around. Keep up, they're actually a bigger thread. So they can hang out over there as well. This one's rusty, but it's not rusty. It's kind of a weird rust, like a surface rust. So let's get this out of the way. Basically started at 330 again. I don't know if y'all can see. Took a break, 330. We got a part for Mr. Bleeping Jeep. So gonna get this hose and just tuck it over here out of the way. Be careful with it because it'll leak. So let's got that. Now let's see what's next. There's 10s right here. They're a long 10. They hold the radiator in. We'll just store them over there as well. And now there's 2 13s on this side. So I'm just going to do these with a ratchet. Hopefully there's no Freon. It didn't show any. That's a stud, but it didn't come out as a stud. We'll just lay them on this side. Usually they'll come out, but if not, you can get you a flathead. Yeah, just kind of wiggle them through there. And if you're a perfectionist and want to do everything right, I would get all new O-rings. They're just old, hard, and I guarantee you they're going to leak when you put them back in. So now I'm going to take hose off here because we're getting a new radiator. So JB Weld, that didn't quite work out. Never works. Be sure and save the hose clamps. They're about $2 a piece. Now I'm going to get this hose off. Y'all saw that. Alright, now, yes, the air box. I never bolt them back in. That's just personal preference. If you want to, you can. But if you get somewhere and you need to work on a power steering hose or something, this ain't going anywhere. But if it is, there's three 13 millimeter nuts from the bottom. Usually just spin off pretty good, but if it's rusty, different story. Let's see, this one still has the 10 right here. I lay it up there just to keep it up there. And no way to get the camera on it. Underneath, right here where my hand is, there's a 5/16 hose clamp just like that. This one's not tight. Now, that gets out of your way. That saves a lot of room there. So let's see. Oh, this one's got the fan. Dadgummit. Learning. Alright, most of yours is going to have 2 wires right under here. Come out on the driver's side for the fan. 04s have 3 wires. And if you're taking the fan off 04, I would probably buy a new fan. It's probably out and probably why you putting the motor in the first place. They just go out. This one has an optional fan. And I've never seen this. It is rusted smooth up. What I do is I've got this piece of, you could be an old axle shaft, something, the rock harder the better. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in there. I have done it with a pipe wrench. I've put it in there, got it in a certain spot. Honestly, you're trying to loosen it, but honestly, just a really hard hit will break it loose. Yep, and make sure to do that with the belt on. I'm going to keep every tool out that I use to make sure y'all have every tool you need if you're at home. Get this. You don't have to worry about hitting the radiator as long as you got the electric fan. So if it falls, you're good. So let that out of the way. Let's see, next step, let's remove the belt. Wow, I've never tried it that way, but that actually worked fine. It's right inside of the I don't have enough hands to do this, but right inside that's a 1/2 inch ratchet, and you just pull it down. But watch what I just learned. All I did was take right here, pull, and then I put my fist between the tensioner and the idler, and just kind of held it there. Now I find a slick pulley, and now my hand's stuck. Let it work. Yeah. All right, be careful. Just use the ratchet. Trust me on that. Let's get the belt out of the way. This will all make sense. Like I said, if you questioning my steps, when they all come together, you'll be like, oh. Next, grab your PB. 3 bolts on the power steering. Just try to get them the best you can. While you're got it, you may squirt a little in your fuel disconnect right there. And then where it comes out of the lines right there. So it's got that. I'm just going to use this tool because that's what I had. Make sure. Yeah. They're known for rusting in the aluminum. That one. Oh, my socket's so wore out. Let's get that old snap-on I found in the Jeep. I'm using a 13, but honestly I think they're a 1/2. Yeah, they're a 1/2. They fit much better. If you go too far, you can't spin to get to the next one, so go as far as you can. This one don't matter, it don't have the metal grate. There's that bolt. Again, I'm going to lay them on the fender, just keep up where they come from, which side. That one I didn't go far enough. Pull it through. You got to line the pulley up so the bolt can come through there. So that is that. That's the next step. And lay it just right over here. Best you can. Now, the reason I did that, if you can see right there, is your clamp for your lower engine hose. And this is the best place to take it off. Well, this one's rusty and it broke. Well, it broke, but it didn't break right. Why does stuff like this have to happen on camera? I've never, ever had this happen. Okay, so now the clamp is, it's like it's broke, but it ain't broke enough to be broke. Well, it broke in half. There's half of it. But the rest of it's still squeezy on there. I tell you what, this motor's junk. I'm gonna cut it. Don't cut yours, but I'm gonna cut mine. Now it's trying to fall off. The top's loose. I can see it, but the bottom hose clamp deal is holding me up. Alright, hopefully that works out better. Now, this hose, as long as you hold it up, everything's undone, fan's undone. Watch your transmission lines. Should be able just to pick all this up out as one. This is by far the easiest way. Okay, let me reset. Alright, let's see. This is that piece I was talking about. You can see that's the clamp you'd be looking for. It was improperly installed. Went ahead and took the upper hose just off for visual. And when you was draining your coolant, this is the one that lets it get air. So if it was struggling or you want it to be faster, be sure to remove this before you do your drain pan, because when you take this off, how it stores it, I don't know, but when you take that off, it'll just, so, get that off there. Let's get a screwdriver and start with a harness. Don't know if y'all can see, but AC compressor is the same. Move that tab over as the headlights. And then there's our O2 sensor. Move that over and squeeze. Let's see. Thermostat housing, just a squeeze there. Intake air temperature, map sensor. This has the new throttle position sensor. Pull that tab back out and then do that. This is your idle air control. It's going to be hard to see how I'm pushing in with a screwdriver and sliding back at the same time. You will probably struggle more than that. I'll go ahead and take. This little crossover vacuum hose for the, see how I just kind of went under with a screwdriver? I've never broke that sensor, but just be careful. Let's get that out of the way. Let's get our, this is too tall. Why is this so tall? There we go. I can tell when it's like an inch off. So now let's see. That's why I went ahead and undid the O2 sensors, because now we're going to pull this harness out. Let's get these cables out of the way. The throttle one is your very back one. It's just got a ball. And then this one is your cruise control. It's got to slide that way, along with this is your kick down cable. It slides away as well. Now, I just use personally a screwdriver and just squeeze them tabs in. But you can get a 1/2 inch wrench and slide over them if you're struggling with a screwdriver or a pair of pliers. See, this one's bigger. Just do one side and wiggle it out of there. Now, tuck everything out of the way, because you're going to need all the room you can get. That deal. Let's see if I can get this right. Brake booster line, take it off right there. I just try to tuck it away out of the way. And then the throttle cable, I'm going to run it back through here. Get it completely out of the way, tuck it just down and out of the way. So some models will vary on vacuum lines right here, but there could be 2 or 3 right here, and ironically they're going to be stuck. They try to rust on there, and they get very brittle too, so watch out for that. Okay, got them off. We'll just tuck them back around the brake line. So that's got that covered. Kind of hard to see, but down here, these 2 wires, there's a little tab. You could take that bracket off, but I just use my little red things. Took the cruise control out of the way. So now, let's see. Let's finish up our harness. Fuel injectors on a WJ, all of them should be these annoying ones, the little red thing. It has to slide up, and more than likely you're going to break yours. You slide it up, and then you squeeze this little tab at the top. It never seems to work. This one does work. I've never broke one. Come under it with a screwdriver and just keep prying and wiggling, and they'll snap out of there. So I've never broke one, just that's last resort if you have to. All the fuel injectors participated. Wow, that one's way back there. So that's that. Let's see. Now this vacuum line from the intake, this little thing here just pops off there. Keep up with it. This one I'm going to line up with the valve cover. I'm going to steal this one in case that motor does not have it. Alright, so wiring harness is ready. It sticks on 3 of the head bolts. This one's just going to fall right off. If you can't, get a pair of channel locks and turn them backwards and you can get under there and kind of pop that harness up. Like that. Now, oh, this one has O2 sensors. These little tabs are just so. You just got to get them off there. Or you can unbolt them. They are bolted on. I just kind of pop them off there. They'll be fine. So now the harness. Got another tab back there. This thing's never been apart. Oh, got one more O2 sensor to undo. Squeeze, pull it through. Now, let's get the heater hoses out of the way. You can see this one's already undone. This one probably got a squeezy clamp. Actually, it's broke. What in the world? Anyways, this is the hose I need. Man, you drag out a camera, it's bound to go wrong. Let's just cut that. I don't know what they've got going on, but you should be taking yours off right there. I'll figure that out later. Now these, trust me, later on you'll want to do this. What I do is take it and right along in this area, start shoving it in there and get it as tight as you can. Same way here, pull it really tight. See if you can find somewhere to shove it off in there. As far as you can. Hopefully they'll stay. So now that's out of the way. Because when this motor starts coming out, it gets tight. Even though it looks like a lot of room. So this little thing here, it's going to break on you. Where you at? Try to wiggle it up. There's going to be a little piece of metal that goes back inside of there. And this part, you can just spin it up with your fingers. Now snap it back in there so it'll break on you next time. Lay that there. Kick down cable, just tuck it out of the way best you can. Now, let's see, where we at? I meant to say earlier, spray these with PB because they're probably not going to participate, but this is usually going to break. I don't know how to tell you to get it off there professionally, but that, and then you can just pry it up right there. Save it for later. So where we at? Let's get the alternator. So alternator, I take it off the motor. It'll make sense later on. 15 millimeter, just 2 bolts. Honestly, quicker than undoing the harness. And keep up with this bolt. Now, it's not going to participate. Usually get a pry bar, come under right here, and just keep wiggling it around there until it falls off. Yep. So let's take it and just throw it right up here, out of the way. That's that. 355, we're pretty close. So now, this one's an O2, it's got the goofy harness. To tell you what I'm going to do, yeah, I've got a ground strap. Instead of trying right here, I know it's not going to, the valve cover, I'm going to take it off at the firewall. Yours will either be an 8 millimeter or a 10. Lay that right where it comes off. Just going to pull that through, I'm going to lay it along there. And let's work on the rest of the harness, and then we'll take this harness and flop it over. I'm going to work on getting this AC line out. I was trying to get an angle to show you these. So these are 10 millimeters, and they're not going to be fun. Right here, this line's going to come off with the motor. So undo this high pressure sensor, and if you feel like it, zip tie it somewhere like right around there. Hopefully that'll stay. Now this one, it's usually not good. 10 millimeter, it really needs a wiggle, but I believe we can make it happen. Oh, I said it was going to be rusty and it popped right out of there. That's the only one you have to take off. Just kind of wiggle it around. And I'm going to take it off just for video purposes, but don't put too much pressure on these AC lines because they will, when you put it back together, like if you took this one and kinked it, as soon as you turn the AC back on, it'll blow a line. Trust me. So this one is 13 millimeter back there. few year models will be different, but relatively the same concept, I guess is the word. 13 and a wiggle. That stud came out too. Now this one actually holds the other one in. We'll just slide it off and get rid of it for now. Fill line while we're over here, and then we'll go to the other side. I've got a blue one. I think you're actually supposed to use a yellow one, to be honest, but just put it in there. Kind of wiggle around. This part where it's rested in, that's where I sprayed it earlier, PB. This is just what I do. Take it and just pull it and kind of seesaw it. And right here, this works perfect. If yours still has this part, take it and hook it on a brake line. It's out of the way. So now let's go back to this side over here. All right, I got the camera in there best I can without holding it. Follow the ground strap right down here. There's two that run right below the oil filter. They're 9/16. If you had to, you could get them off from the bottom, but just the way I do it, this is how I do it. Should be a relatively short bolt if you want to keep up with that. Now the harness, there ain't much harness here. Oh, the only thing different on your models is this sensor I got my hand on. It's got a single wire that bolts to the head. If yours does or don't have it, just depends on if you want to unbolt it or leave it. But it's the same squeezy tab as the rest of them, just very annoying. Cam sensor, same principle. See, it's too hard to squeeze, so what I do is take a pair of pliers, push in, just kind of push around the side of it, wiggle it off there. So that's that. Now the dipstick bolt takes the grounds and holds this wire harness. So that's a half, I believe. Half, hopefully yours comes off the right way and the stud stays. Again, just laying it in the general location of where it comes from. So that's that. Gotta get that harness off. And there's grounds that go to it. Let's see, what's next? This has this goofy harness. Coil pack. That one's already got the coil pack. It's got that stupid red lock tab. There's no way I can show you. It's going to have to push towards the passenger side, and then you can squeeze and just push it straight down. If I could show you, I'd try, but there's no way to get the camera in there. So now I got this harness. We'll flop it over the dipstick. Nope. And we still got the oil pressure sensor. It's got the same red tab you got to push over if yours is the 3-wire. Hopefully somebody's changed it and it's easier on you. Got all them. Now, this harness, got it loose. Just had to start going this way. It tucks under the fuel rail, which just kind of makes it annoying, but you just keep pulling it through. Stuff's gonna try to get caught. Pull it through, pull it through. I sometimes go back across the top of the fuel rail, just personal preference. This harness is coming apart on me. Now this harness we're going to try to get out of the way. It's a nice Jeep, you may want fender savers. This one's not that nice. I think everything needs to go across the transmission dipstick. Sometimes I bungee cord these up out of the way, but this one appears to be out of the way enough. I'll put the kick down across the top of the dipstick, the transmission dipstick I'm talking about. Let's just see what happens if I don't bungee cord it. So that's essentially it for this side. That's it for this side too. 4:03, dead on an hour. Well, no, I took a 20-minute break to go get the thing for bleeping. All right, let's go up and start the bottom side. It's not too bad, but this one sucks because I believe it's locked up. Like I said, without telling a lie, I had to stop and go cut out an A pillar, and I stutter so much, so it's taking me forever. Got to change the batteries, but essentially this entire side is ready, other than the motor mount, and then this side right here is ready. See, that's the oil sensor right back there. Got the harness laid over, AC line, and wait till you see what I do with the brackets there. Makes it so much easier, and you won't believe it. All right, fresh battery. This is kind of funny. You can see the motor's almost ready to come out. Still got some stuff. I get it. But look at the tools. I'm not going to name them off because I name them off at the end of the video, but I ain't even put a bolt in the pan, and then just some pliers, screwdrivers, and just 2 or 3 sockets and Torx. All right, let me get it raised up. Before I raise it up, I wanted to see if the motor, I know it won't spin forward because I tried, but I'm wondering if I can spin it backwards to get the torque converter bolts out. If not, I'll show you, but just hoping. Dang it. It moves, but that ain't enough. No, if I took the oil pan off, I could probably move some stuff around, but good old piston. All right, let me raise it up and answer the phone. All right, got the Jeep raised up. You can see I haven't even touched it at all, just kind of looking, making sure. But 4:11, I gotta go unload a Jeep, so I'll pick you back up. I'm just trying to keep up with time. I mean, it's roughly gonna be about 2 hours, give or take. All right, 4:33. Let's say a little prayer. All right, let's go for it. Again, if you don't have one of these things here, you can get by without it. It's just, I do this for a living, and it just makes sense to have something like this. That, I'm gonna get it so we won't need it, but if I don't get it, we'll need it, but I gotta break it more. So let's try this. Bolts. Exhaust bolts. Oh, it's gonna be fun. All right, if there's a way to get the camera in there, I would. It's just not physically possible and whatever, but what we want to do is get our 15 wiggle, and let's start on the easy one here. Let's say another little prayer. This is O2, so it's got the good tabs. Let's see. I got a light on my head. Okay, so it went. Now what I'm gonna do, this sounds weird, trust me. I'm gonna tighten it back up. Especially if you're like got the old little bitty tabs, I think probably 01 and older, it'll hold pressure and won't let them strip out. So now I'm gonna try to get the back one off of the same exhaust bank. Jumped off there. Try to tighten. These are so aggravating. Can't see nothing. I think I'm getting movement. It's just getting stuck. Swap hands for no reason. Oh, it's moving. I don't know if you can get map gas up there or not, but it probably helps. Yes! Woo! Woo! That's gonna be hot. Odds are, back one probably won't come off. Now, the front one that you've already attempted, go ahead and get it. Whew. I'll go ahead and apologize. These are not fun no matter what you do. All right, number 3. I think it moved. It moved. It's about as close as it could get. Come. Again, tighten it back up. Let's work on number 4. Say another little prayer. Right. Come on. Out of the whole process, this is by far the hardest thing to do. Didn't want to get the breaker bar, but I have before had to stick a die grinder up there and cut them. So make sure we're seated. We got movement. Oh. All right, let's go back tighten, see if we can get it to participate. Let's get some more PP. Just get this out of the way. Smooth sailing. Get both of them while we're at it. Alright, I'm gonna let that soak for just a second. About to burn up. It's middle of nearly Christmas. Alright, we can't get the starter off. The bottom bolt is a 9/16 used starter. I just lay it on lift arm, that's what I've got, but if you've got something different, just lay it wherever. The top one is a 15mm. I know it's weird, can't explain it. Now, what I do is take this starter, throw it over this control arm, make sure it's not in the way of the suspension. You know what? I'm gonna do it different. I'm gonna go ahead and shove it all the way up. And I'm gonna put it back up there where the battery goes. As long as it don't fall on my head. Yep. We'll make sure that gets up there and doesn't get hurt. That bolt can stay in the bell housing. Alright, let's see if we can make this happen. Let's try the impact one more time. Let's check our battery. 2 bars. So now we went back tight. Let's see if we can get it to loosen. It moved. Let's get a fresh battery. Fresh battery. Maybe this is it. All right, don't get it stuck. Couldn't have got luckier on that. Well, just shut up, Dex. Woo! There we go. That's the most dreaded part of the entire process. Now, this one, I cut the catalytic converter off because it's been run hot. I know it has. Now this should come off. I'll show you these too. Yeah, they're melted and full of stuff, so yeah. It sucks if you don't have a backyard full of Jeeps to get good ones to go back on there. Alright, now we have access to what we need to be at right here. These bolts, I'm going to keep up with them. Prayers worked. So this is a 1/2-inch bolt to get the dust shield out of the way. Let's see if I can use wiggles. Maybe so. One bolt. Oops. I think y'all can see. I apologize if the camera's not perfect. I'm just doing the best I can. There's bars are in the way, but if you're here looking at it, it all makes sense. There's a dust shield. It has bolt here, here, and there. Keep up with those. I'm gonna lay them on the ground. Now, if your motor wasn't locked up, you would rotate it, and then maybe you can see right there where I'm touching, that's a torque converter bolt. You'd have to get 4 of them out of there, but my motor doesn't spin. That sucks. I really would like it to spin. All right, I'm gonna tinker with getting the motor spinning. I'll say, am I that dirty? Probably. Golly. Hoping to move something, but that's rock hard there. Let's try again. Oh, I don't think it's gonna happen. Alright. I'm gonna drain the oil, and I know it sounds like a lot of trouble, but I'm actually gonna cut that oil pan out and see if I can move some stuff around in there, and that way I can spin the motor over, because I don't like pulling the converter out because it's like hard on the bushing and stuff. You can, I just don't like doing it. So let me see if I can avoid that. Alright, I figured y'all might laugh at this, so my bad. It's the right tool for the job. Not what you'd expect to remove a motor with, I will say that. Start. Let's just use the hole we already got. Well, I guess that's as far as I'm going that way. It's worked out better in my head. Alright, see if we can pry that down. Come on. See a piece of piston. It's like mated too. It's like stuck. Come on. Oh, there's some piston. Make it. Get a bigger pry bar. I can see what I need to see. It's a mess. I guarantee you, if you clicked on this video, this is probably not what you're expecting to see. It's not what I expected to be doing, to be completely honest. Alright, I think I got enough. Just a second. Alright, a little bit of debris on the ground. And if you can see, that little piece of piston right there is what needs to get out of there. Come on. Oh, it's stuck. Let me rotate the motor around. Which way does it need to go? Which way will it move? There we go. Yeah. That's just got to fit out of there somehow. Junky piston wants to be good and solid now. I'm gonna get a hammer. Get out of there. We're so close. How did it get in there? Alright, I gotta turn the camera off before it goes dead. I'm gonna get it out of there and we should rotate. The second I turned the camera off, I reared back and hit it like I should have, and well, where'd it go? It don't really look like a piston, but some of a piston. Probably the problem. Alright, now, maybe. Get lucky. Oh, yeah. Yes, that is gonna save us some trouble. Alright, let's see. Can y'all see? Shouldn't really be nothing you gotta see. It's just now, get you a converter bolt right in that area. 9/16, remove them. Now basically just spin it quarter turn. Oh, don't you do this to me. There's another one lines up. Remove it. It's gonna be 4 of them, 9/16, little bitty bolts, keep up with them. Hopefully you don't have to do what I did to my oil pan. One more. Yep, so don't need this anymore for now. Should be the last one. You can count 4 of them, or if you reach through the starter hole, you can see how they don't line up anymore. So the converter is loose. Push it back. Now, what's next? All right, I'm going to remove the air conditioner line from down here. 7/16 nut. Hopefully yours participates like that. Usually doesn't. And then we can take it off when we go back up there. Keep up with that nut. So now you may not have this tool, which is fine. You can do it other ways. The motor mount bolts that go through there. Can we see? Surely you can see. There's an 18mm bolt. No, you can't see. There we go. So what I'm gonna do, basically get it to where it's ready to come off. It'll make sense later. Just leave the nut bolt in there, keep up with the nut. Same thing on this side. If you have to, if you don't have the wiggle, you can come from the front with an extension, get on it pretty easy that way. But next step, one of those you just have to trust me on. So, all right, this is the part if you're lazy and, well, not trying to offend you, just trying to say if you're trying to shortcut, I'm telling you, this is where you save a lot of trouble. Not necessarily time, trouble. Okay, so that's the bolt holding the motor in, and I didn't pick up on this for years, so don't think I just, I did it like you would normally do it too. I would leave this bracket, but see there's a bolt there, there's a bolt on the back. I'll try to show you, that's the bolt right there, and then the one comes through the springs. Usually you can get on it with an impact, but if you have to do it with a ratchet wrench, I'm telling you, it's worth your time. But let me lower it down and see if I can get on mine with the impact. All right, you can tell it's kind of dark off in there. This is very nasty, but 15mm. You can leave them in there. Just pull them back where they don't get in the way. This one, hey, it's actually gonna work. Yeah, that one, same principle as you can leave it. Just try to make where it don't get in the springs. Other side, exact same steps. As long as you can fit in there. Otherwise, use a ratchet wrench or a smaller socket. All right, 5:09. Take supper break, and we'll be back at this thing, and should have it out in no time at this point. The top bolts on the Bellhousing, they're not fun, but anyways, we'll get there in just a second. What time's that say? 6:08. So, like I said, I'm not going to add up all these, but it's guaranteed to be less than 2 hours. Got the orange gloves. We're almost there, so I don't need the heavy duties. All right, now, like I said, you just got to trust me. 13mm. Remove the steering shaft. Oops. Oh, come on, man. I've never seen one that tight. 13mm. Just lay it right there. I'll remember that. So now I'm going to slide this back with a pry bar. Get right in there. Bump it off there. WJ is one of the only ones that actually slides. The Cherokees and the older ones don't. Go all the way with that. Now we got to get the motor supported. All right, this is the part where the tricks start coming in. Engine chain, they sell them at, I guess every parts store's probably got them. I go to the second to the back head stud and the 18 nut from the motor mount earlier, screw it on there. And it's the wrong thread, I get it, but you know how many thousand of these I've pulled and it works just fine. So now, ooh, I caught that. The bolt earlier, we'll put it right here and we'll have to run it down a little bit. Ain't no reason to get it tight, you can if you want. Oh, let's get the AC line out of the way. Can y'all see? Yeah. Hopefully it's not rusty on this one either. This is the weirdest rusty, not rusty Jeep I've worked on in a while. Now, this could have stayed, but it hangs the transmission line, so just, again, trust me, it makes it easier. You have to find it out of there. Stay there. So now we need some support. This thing, I usually try to get it relatively just an inch or so above in front of the fill hole there. Just kind of, that should balance it out. So now let me get my hoist. Got to get some support going on. What am I hitting? One little bitty pebble. All right, get that hooked up. Your cherry picker probably don't do this. Now I'm gonna apply pressure. Now there's 15s, which I don't have yet, that hold them motor mounts in. That's why I remove the steering shaft. Where y'all at? Just gonna lay them bolts right there. This is how I get to the top bolts much easier. Oh, nearly forgot the starter. I'm gonna grab it and just let it hang out right over here with all the other junk. Get these bolts out. Again, just gonna lay them on that side and this side. Now, so this side's picked up. Should be able to reach through and pull that bolt through. Now this mount here, just gonna wiggle it and pile it up with our junk. This one, same principle. We should be able to reach through, pull the bolt out, lay it there, get this bracket, so you can just move the motor wherever you want it now. Put that up there. Now we can get to the top bolts really good. Oh man, there it comes. Well, y'all learned a lesson. It's leaking coolant, but I'm just gonna go ahead and let it leak because it's gonna keep on leaking. Now you can see the motor is way down. I mean, you've got so much room to get to them bolts right there. So let me get it up in the air. All right, this part is gonna be basically impossible to film, but I'll at least show you what I'm gonna be doing. You should be able to see this, but oh, this is gonna flicker, ain't it? I'm sorry about the flicker. There's a 9/16 right here that holds nothing, well, a little brace on. And then same location, there's a 9/16 that holds the dipstick. And then I think I can show you this part, but I started removing the shifters differently. There's 11/16 right there and a 3/8, and then I'll knock it off right here just to get this out of the way. It makes it so much easier. Then I don't know how to show up, looking through the camera. The crank sensor right there, what I'm showing you, 11mm or 7/16. Remove it. You just have to trust me, and you can leave it hanging by the wires. And then top dead center, there's two 9/16 across there. And when you get this out of the way, there's two 5/8 in the dead corners. If you don't remove the crank sensor, odds are you might hit it and break it. I've done it so many times, and you've just put a new motor in, and you're like thinking, I missed a wire, what did I not hook up? Just trust me, it's easier to take it out, reinstall it. I'll show you installing it. There's a little trick. It just saves you time and a lot of hassle. Alright, let's get this knocked out first. Shifter, just come right there, pop it off there. And you can get it out of this bracket, and that's the way I've done it for so many years, but I'm telling you, this way just seems to work out better. 11/16 there. And for some reason this bolt's usually stupid tight. No idea why. Maybe it's, sometimes it is, sometimes it ain't. By doing that, we can wheel it out. Oh, there's a spring too that goes to the kickdown cable. Just keep up with it, make sure you don't lose it. But now we can slide it up, drop this down, and I usually tuck it around the upper control arm. We can get to that bolt way easier now. Let me get my 9/16. Let's see, I've got a different extension. Come across here. And that's what I was gonna say. This helps on two-wheel drives, but on four-wheel drives, sometimes it helps, sometimes it hurts, because these are both 9/16, by the way. Sometimes it hurts because, well, let me just swap the angles we go. So when you let the motor down, obviously it pivots off this transmission mount, so all your transfer case actually goes up. So on a two-wheel drive, makes it a dream come true. On a four-wheel drive, it kind of pushes all that up and it gets real tight. So there's not really a win-win situation for that. Just so. I may have to go back and jack the motor up partially or whatever. But does help, just ain't always the answer. Now I'll get the 9/16 off the dipstick. I would leave that bolt in the Bellhousing, because if you screw around, you'll pull the dipstick out of the transmission. Oh my gosh, it leaks like 4 or 5 quarts of fluid in your floor, and it's a disaster. So that's that. Got my 2 bolts on the side. Let me get the crank sensor. 7/16 or 11mm. Oh, let's see. Kind of dark, but I've done this before. There's a little brace that comes with it. I don't honestly know the point of it, but for the sake of it, I'll put it back. Now, let's see if we can get the crank sensor. The other 9/16 holds like a little fuel line brace, and I'm not even going to say I even know what it does. It's just there. I'm just going to lay that crank sensor out of the way. Now let's get the big extension. So what would that be? 9/16 at 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock, give or take. They can stay or they can come back, whichever happens. And they are the same bolts as the other ones with the nuts, unless yours has the braces, which is only a few certain models have like a brace with a long bolt. I know somebody's watching right now like, he's making it look so easy. Well, I've done this a time or two. Alright, now, I've never taught this, so I'm trying to like make sure I'm doing what I normally do and teach you what I normally do. So it's kind of tricky. I think the next trick is very crucial. So when you pull the motor out, the transmission has none to support it. It's just going to fall down. Man, I've seen people put straps to the bolts up there, to the windshield wipers, just that. It's so easy. Get you a good heavy duty strap, and this works 2 and 4-wheel drive. 4-wheel drive is a little more difficult, but just, it really don't even matter where, around this area, come across it with a ratchet strap. And all I'm concerned right now is just getting it set up, because what I'll do is go pick the motor up with a cherry picker, engine hoist, get this where it should be, and then I'll come back and tighten this again. So when you pull the motor off, instead of that transmission just falling down to the ground, it'll stay hovering in the air. It's not real stable, but when you're going back together, that kind of helps you because you can kind of just gently wiggle it around. The 2 bolts on the side, the 5/8, I'm just going to go ahead and take them out. Everything should stay together. It might just tweak a little bit, but take them out. You can leave them or whatever, and then ready to pull the motor out. These transmission lines on this one are going to make you mad. You can either push them in. Oh, that's why I do it. Dang it, let me show you. Try not to make the video 4 hours long, but every time I turn around, there's a little trick I do that will guarantee to help you out. So let me get this set up. This one's as easy as it gets. 5/8. Wow. Oh, that's a starter. Never mind. 5/8 up here. Like I said, you can leave it or you can do whatever. Now this other side's not so easy. I forgot I do this. Let's see. I'm not looking at the camera, so I don't know what y'all can see, but it won't fit. Might need a bigger pry bar than just a little screwdriver. That hole now, you can take it and put a pry bar in there. Yes. So that should be far enough. Make sure it's out. Tell you what we're going to go ahead and do. Going back together, you'll understand why I do this. Put it that way and go ahead and get the bolt far back out of the way as I need to. Now, these transmission lines, can y'all see maybe? Let's go up there. We're done under here. We're ready to pull it. The only thing left, I don't know how the light is, but these transmission lines. So they're out of the way. Motor's ready to come out. 6:33. Okay. Need to support the engine again. Maybe that's good enough. Going back together may take a ratchet strap to actually balance it out. But what I want to do now, try to keep them together. They're completely unbolted now. Yeah, I'm trying to push back. Now I've picked everything up, that ratchet strap, I'm just going to go tighten down on it. Probably see it move when I do it. Yeah, I bet it's moving. That can be retightened later if it has to. Watch all you wires, but as long as you did everything I just told you, should be good. If you had motor mounts, you'd be fighting to get over them, fighting this. The transmission lines and the flex plate are very frustrating. There ain't really no secrets. It's just a bad design of my mind, but motor's not supposed to be blowed up. Oh yeah. Watch your transmission dipstick. Like I said, if you catch it, it'll pick up and fluid will be everywhere. Okay, the motor is officially out. It's 6:30. Look how nice that transmission's sitting, ready to go for the next motor in. But you can see those like I have to reroute around that. These are just get in the way. But that's ready to go back. Gotta get some parts exchanged over this one. Flex plate. That's about it, honestly. Flex plate and the little tabs. Yeah, he's got air conditioning on that one, so he's ready to go. Again, I went and pulled, I'm not gonna touch it. I went and cut that out for bleeping Jeep. When found it, got it. I had to unload a Jeep with a SkyTrack, and I stopped and ate supper, and I had to post a short video. So what I started is about 2. It's going on 6. There's not a doubt in my mind, even with the camera, less than 2 hours. There it is. So I'm gonna get all the accessories swapped over. I hope you don't leave at this point. If you're using this for your benefit, just lay your phone down, whatever you're doing. But I'll try to go shorter going back together, but I'll make sure you don't miss nothing going back together. And all the little tricks and stuff I've learned. All right, got everything ready to go back together. Got the flex plate on, went ahead and signed it. And if you didn't know, I know you probably don't care, this is for my brother. It's an experiment for another video, but he has the worst luck. That compressor was on there, was bad, and then that compressor on that motor was locked up. So the only thing you probably have to do from here, it looks good at the moment. Sometimes catch something in this area, even the water pump, put your ratchet strap right there to kind of pick up. But being that's two-wheel drive and it's already just a little tilt that way, may be able to just shove this off there like that. All right, there ain't really much I can film and show you and all that stuff. Well, I got it up high where I can get under the lip. You're just gonna have to fight around the Jeep itself. But the flex plate and transmission lines are basically the only thing that's gonna really give you trouble. And that's what I said, if you had those engine lines on right now, or engine mounts, you'd be so frustrated trying to wiggle around them. Watch the PCV valve at the very top of the valve cover. It'll snap off and you'll be mad. Oh. The only thing I forgot to show you is make sure all the bolts are shoved back away. So when you look at the bell housing, there's no bolts. There's no bolts sticking through. And all we're trying to do is get the dowels lined up. And those bolts are so short, you have to get the dowels started before they'll actually catch thread. Right, now we're past. Needs to go down. Right now you'd be fighting the floor jack and the transmission not sitting right. It's just hanging out there ready to go. What I do is I look down through here and like try to watch one certain bolt hole, and when it gets close, should be able to either wiggle the motor or the transmission around. Oh yeah. Oh, it's in the dowel pins. Dang. Let's see if I can put just a pinch of pressure. Don't touch nothing. Gonna sneak up on it. Alright, got one. All we're really worried about is the 2 5/8. Dang it, I forgot my screwdriver. Hello? Anybody here? Dang. I was trying just to force it and I wound up hurting myself. Oh, it's so close. Really don't want to crawl out of here. Just for a friggin' screwdriver. Oh my gosh, there's a pry bar right behind my head. I can't make that up. I remember laying it there and I was like, I need to pick that up. And I'll be dang if it ain't an absolute lifesaver. The screwdriver worked better. I'm going to stick a bolt through that hole so I get some leverage. Alright, got that one tight, and I'm going to tighten the other one all the way. And find it blindfolded. Yep. Alright. This is the part where if I had employees, I would tell them to raise the lift up so I don't have to crawl out of here, but I'll go back the way I came in. There's that pry bar I found. Look at that. Saved the day. As long as I get out of here. Woo! Alright, now let her back down. And from this point forward, I'm still going to tell you all my secrets, but I'm not going to be like hiding this bolt. I'm just going to do them. I think I hurt my thumb. It could be better, it could be worse. Like I said, I'm just going to do the stuff and then I'll make sure you don't forget nothing, but if there's any tricks, I will let you know. Alright, I can't make this up. I took this other shirt off. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I don't like telling a lie. That piece of the piston was in my front pocket of my shirt. And then you can tell that's the rest of the piston stuff there. I forgot to add, I'll try to link the video below, but it doesn't work like a dream come true, but I built the engine stand. I didn't have enough leverage, so I had to put 2 hands, but it gets the job done. 4 O's, you just don't like the 4 O's. But. All right, I'm gonna put all those top bolts in and then I'll pick you up from there. All right, so now you can see, well, if you can see, you can get to all these bolts real nice and easy. Put all them, crank sensor, stick it in the hole, and then get your bolt started. May take like a little flat hand, just barely, just enough that you can say it's got a gap. Some of them are slotted, some of them just have a hole, so check that out. And then next thing we're gonna do is put the motor back on the motor mounts. And this is important. All right, this ain't necessarily the crucial step. I just wanna show you what I do from here. I've got top 2 bolts, side bolts, I recheck them, make sure they're tight, and then the 2 9/16 and the crank sensor. You gotta get the motor set now, so let's pick it up. You shouldn't need nothing to level it. You can just pick it up basically as high as you can, basically. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. I think I would start with a driver one. It seems to be a tighter spot. So push it over by hand, drop this bracket in, and then let's see, I guess we can start the 2 top bolts. You ain't gotta get them tight. Just start them. Make sure you got enough thread, because when you let it down, you're gonna have all the pressure of the motor hanging off them too. Now, oh, that's so close. Oop, oop, oop. You can just kind of finesse it in there. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do. That's the right height. Let's get this bracket in. So make sure we got enough room. Yeah, we got room. Go ahead and start these top bolts like this. Probably not going to tighten them, but usually the bolts that come in from the side, after you hang it, they usually line back up. So now we can stick this one through. That. Don't need the nut right now. Wow, that one's lined up perfectly. What are the odds? Do that. Now let's let her down pretty nice and easy. Yep, you can hear the pressure. So now our motor's set. But major thing, make sure after this do the converter bolts, the torque converter bolts. I'll show you how. But if something's wrong, that converter fell out or something didn't work out right, you're gonna put everything together and have to take everything back apart to fix this. And I've done it, I can't tell you how many times, even though I know better, I still do it. So now I'm gonna lift it back up. Well, I'll show you the converter bolts, then I'm gonna knock out as much as I can on the underside, lower it back down, do as much as I can on the top side, and go up and down. Just saves you, which you're probably doing it off of a jack, but still, it makes no difference. Get everything you can done on one side, and then go to the other side and do everything you can. Just saves you from going back and forth, back and forth. So let me raise it back up. Let me turn this song off. All right, so now this is crucial. Listen carefully. There will be bolt holes lined up. Let's see. Twist it around till you can see that one's got little squiggly marks where it's had a bolt in it. Now you can see nothing lines up. So I don't know if you can see my hand. I'm going through the starter hole, and you can just take your fingers and spin it around till right there. You can have to watch for threads, but that's not the end of the crucial part. Make sure to listen to this. I would probably run it down with your finger, and let's get a ratchet wrench. I've just got a stubby. Let's do, I don't know, about a turn, turn and a half, maybe 2 turns, and that's it. Now when you spin it over, well, if something was wrong with the converter, you couldn't spin the converter. So if it stuck out, fell out, and you tried to put it back in, it would just simply be locked up right now. So being able to spin it is what you was checking for. Now when you go to spin the motor over, hear that noise? That's what you're looking for. So do not put one bolt in and tighten it down and just move along. So this one, same thing. Get your bolt, run it down. Just don't get it tight, and then if you don't do it with a wrench at all, it's okay, but they'll be sticking out so far when you spin it over, it'll be digging into the dust shield. So that's number 2. There's number 3. I apologize if that ratchet's in the way. Just get lucky like that. It's not, is it? No, maybe not. So that one got more threads than the rest of them. We'll just give it about a turn. Just don't get it tight. Very rarely do I ever see it anymore. Is sometimes the holes don't line up, like an aftermarket converter or something, and you have to take them all back out and then spin it like a quarter turn and try the other holes. But that's pretty rare, but if you run into it, that's what you do. So now we got all 4 in, we can tighten them. Just run it down. About that tight. Don't forget your ratchet wrench. Hear that noise right there? If you didn't tighten them with a wrench, they would be so tight, it would be like peeling aluminum off. See it come off and loosened up. It's not terrible, it's not the end of the world, but you'll think you got something wrong. Hear it dragging. There's that one. Number 3. Number 4. Normally if you're doing this, I'd go ahead and check number 5 too, but I've done this enough to know that that's all I need to do. So that's it. I'm gonna put the dust cover, do what else I can do. Bolts through the motor mounts right here. We'll get them through the side. Maybe a shifter. I'll fill you in. Alright, ran into just a few dilemmas, nothing major. Waiting on the radiator, water pump. This is for a different video, but yeah, let's check it out. I still need my AC compressor, but I got the motor mounts tight. This thing right here, slid it back on. There's like a little spot ground off on the shaft for the bolt. Try not to spin it. If you spin it like accidentally one round, I think you're gonna be okay. Somebody's gonna comment that it triggers the clock spring. I've been doing this for years and I know for a fact I've spun them more than one time. It's not good practice, but I'm just saying if you like drop it and it spins a half a turn and you're freaking out, it's gonna be okay. So that's that. I figured out this one has the wrong TPS sensor. Looks like it's gonna go, but it doesn't. So I'm just gonna swap the throttle bodies, that's easier. Harness back under there, and the freaking O2 sensors. I forgot they changed from round to square, somewhere around 04, give or take. Well, maybe 03, because this is 03, I believe, or 2. Anyways, you'll figure that out. Slap the alternator back on. Don't forget those grounds down there. The grounds down there too. Put your heater hoses before you do these cables right there. And then I had to use a self-tapper. I ain't gonna explain that one. Threw my starter down and hit the ground. So yeah. Still get my vacuum lines, fuel line, pop them on there. Nothing to that, but I swear these engines just, it takes longer to even talk about it than it does just to do it if you know exactly what you're going for. So, still gotta get a downpipe. But I'll make sure to follow you through the end of the process and start up and everything like that. Alright, got the hoses on, AC, and then be sure and get your lower hose on before you put this power steering pump. I almost made that mistake because I was waiting on the hose, but you can see no access. But when that pump's not there, you can see very good. So, not absolute everything, but I think now I'm gonna go up and do the exhaust, get everything on the bottom knocked out, so when it comes back down, it'll be the final time. Got mostly everything wrapped up on the bottom side, and I don't know if I showed. Hopefully yours don't have these right here. If they do, I have no good advice for you. Well, I wish I had good advice for you, but the only thing I ever had to do is get like a die grinder and cut into them. Hopefully you don't, but something like this right here, I mean, worst case, you'd go to Harbor Freight, you'd be out about 20 bucks. And that will be your easiest way to get them if them things ever spin. That's why I always say those things, loosen one, and if it does, tighten the other, because otherwise that tab will jump up and spin, and then it never is right from that point forward. Those O2 sensors technically does not affect the way it runs, but I've got them hooked up. Do not forget your transmission lines. They'll be easy to forget. Make sure that little thing's stuck on a stud there. Got my starter, got my exhaust, dust shield. Make sure you don't forget your shifter. I forget it all the time for some reason, but I believe other than that, we're done on the bottom, besides like the bumper tab, but you don't really need a lift for those. So we'll let it down, and I think coolant, that's about it. All right, got everything ready. I think next part is coolant. What you want to do is this little hose right here, leave it off, but have it ready to go back on. You'll see why. I'm gonna leave the springy clamps. I like them better, honestly. All right, so y'all can see there, probably gonna take, I don't know, give or take about 1.5 gallons or something before we see anything. And you're supposed to 50-50 it, but I'll show you. We're gonna go ahead and add a solid gallon of antifreeze, and then we'll add a solid gallon of water, and then we'll start the 50-50 process. These funnels ain't mandatory, but I'm telling you, if you work on a lot of vehicles, they're worth the money. If you didn't have that little hose off right now, you'd be sitting here all friggin' day. See how it's bubbling? I've seen dust come up right then. Now, we'll use this jug to pour half of antifreeze in, and then we'll 50-50 both of them. Would have made way more sense just to pour half of this jug and half of that jug and then fill them up with water. I don't know why it's not going down. It should go down quick. Hope Justin didn't leave something plugging something off in there. Alright, let me go get some water. Alright, I guess we finally decided to go down. Now, see if we can get a gallon of water in there. Hopefully surely it holds more than 2 gallons. You never know. If it's a brand new motor, it'll usually hold more, but if it's used motor, sometimes it's got some left over in there. Just never come out. And like the heater core's got to be filled up and all that stuff. So you get close like this, don't know if it's going to shoot out. I always put my finger, but I want y'all to see it come out. So here, it was not enough. What I'm going to do is put my plug in there. That way we don't make more of a mess. Fill this thing about halfway full. Now I'm going to pull it. Well, see dust coming out. For the other sake of the other video I'm using this project for, I'm trying not to make a big antifreeze mess. Would really help. Oh, see right there. Yep, there you go. So now you got your hose. I wasn't ready. This is definitely the wrong tool for the job. Right there, and then springy clamps, I always give them a good tap, or maybe even try to spread them. So now we're good. That'll bubble out just a little bit. Yeah. That's why I like these funnels so much. They're just very handy for this right here. Try not to get it too high, because usually when the thermostat tries to open, it'll just do its thing and try to bubble over sometimes. Alright, let me get a battery on it and we're good to fire it up. Oh yeah, come on. Got brand new Walmart junky battery. Probably last about a year, and then we'll put another one on there. I don't know what's got in the batteries, they suck. I want to figure it out, but just ain't had time to mess with it. Let me make sure the key's off. Key is off. I've seen several people when they are trying to jump a battery or installing a battery, just that. I don't know if it's a capacitor, what in the computer goes wrong, but I've seen several of them go bad right then. So I always just try to make sure the key's off, and I think this is an 02 or 3, and they're very bad about going out. So just a little side information there. Justin said this motor has oil, but I've never actually checked it. Yep, it's got oil. Let's see. I know this ain't the right way to check it. I'm just seeing if it's got anything in there. Then I'm gonna check the power steering, we had it upside down. It's a little low, but it'll do the job. Got my PCV hose on there. First start up, brand new motor. See how it goes. It's winter, so I gotta have the doors shut. I'm looking for oil pressure, so it'll be a minute before I come back out there. It don't sound like it has gas. Alright, no gas. That's what it sounds like. The fuel pump just sound very unrestricted, I guess. Just wee. And this Jeep was getting scrapped, of course, if you know me and know what I do for a living. So odds are the scrappers may have siphoned it out of there. Hopefully ethanol ain't got a hold of this one because it ain't been sitting that long. Nothing but air. Alright, let me put a drop of fuel in it and see if that fixes their problem. Justin, you're gonna owe me a lot of money. Alright, 5 gallons of fresh 93. Let's see if it sounds any different. Dang it. They ain't been sitting that long. Still pumping air. Alright, let's go get the trusty or handy dandy fuel pump in a bucket. I'll let that soak. Sometimes the screen gets just like dried up and won't let gas in there, so I may have to soak. If it ever prime itself, it'll pull through the screen. But let me get the fuel pump in the bucket. Alright, if you've never seen before, I deal with ethanol and junkyards, so literally just a fuel pump screwed in there. The fuel pump's just hanging by the hose in there and the wires. But you can see it's pretty consistent. It works when you tell it to. It's pumping just an absolute little bit of fuel. Battery sounds weak. Let's get to it. All right, let's try attempt number 2 with fuel. Always look for oil pressure and other than that's about it. Got a real slight miss, but usually injectors or lifters will clean up, and then if it doesn't clean up after, when it gets up to operating temperature, I would look into O2 sensors, because if it's got hot, the coolant gets on the O2 sensors and it'll start giving it false readings. So, 20 degrees outside, but I'm gonna open the doors, let this thing run, and I'll try to show you the thermostat, what happens with it. Alright, I was toting firewood and about missed it, but it looks like we're almost a thermostat break-in. Or not break-in. Opening up, so maybe we can catch it on camera. We may have already opened it, to be honest. I don't know what Justin put in there. Right there. Yep, I've already missed it, my bad. Yeah, if your radiator's hot, your thermostat is open. So, sorry I missed it, but I was trying to get some firewood to go in there. Still getting a few bubbles out, possibly. I think he checked the head for cracks, besides the main crack that it has. But anyways, you can see antifreeze, it's hot. When you cut this baby off and let it cool, that'll go down like significantly. So I'm gonna get it to about right there and then cool it off and see if it'll go back down. Then let me get all this situated and we'll put everything back together and make sure we're all good. I don't know if you can tell, but that's why you want a pressure cap. When I turned it off, everything was pretty warm, and with no pressure cap, it boils. So now I gotta do the whole process all over. And what did I just say about not making a mess? It's very extra Friday today. So these holes right here, these are holes, and then, well, I've already put the bolts in. These are slotted, so if you're ever trying to, don't tighten those down, tighten these down first, because they center, and then those just go wherever. And then I taught you about those, try to get those back. As far as I know, everyone I've ever seen, the hood thing is on top of the brackets. So I've got them tightened. This little thing right here, what I said, it'll just try to fall down and then it'll fall through and you can't pop your hood. Well, you could reach around here and pull it if you had to, cut the grill out. But I usually just put a 10mm bolt and a nut, but for y'all's sake, I just like put a zip tie, or honestly, it doesn't even matter. Just something so that thing can't fall down right like that. So, let me get everything back together, and I don't... Alright, if I don't add this part now, I know I'll forget it, so I don't know whether to be super specific hammer to get the fan off. Other if you don't need the if yours don't have that fan. Is it there? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where is it at? Oh, right there it is. Then you shouldn't need that right there, but just a pry bar, motor, or big ratchet, turn the motor over. 18 ratchet wrench, I don't really know why I have that extension, and a 15 wiggle if you're going to be fighting the exhaust. Other than that, just 15s, halves, 5/8, 11/16, 3/8. So I mean, just very common sockets, nothing special at all. Pliers, and then another 18 wrench, and then the little red thing if you want them. Those are very handy. Screwdriver, hose clamp, and then T30 and possibly a 10 wiggle. Other than that, just very basic tools. Obviously, you need an engine hoist of some sort. Alright, we need some fuel pressure. I wonder how much fuel I got. Let's go see if we can get some more fuel. Well, let's turn the fuel pressure on. Yep. I'm curious what's wrong with the fuel pump, because, like I said, I don't think this Jeep's been sitting an awfully long time, but it's obviously something wrong with it. I still don't even know if the transmission's good. It's just what's the odds of the motor being bad and the transmission too. So get some gas. How much fuel do you need, sir? How about 5 gallons? All right then. I think this thing's honestly out. Got some, but I think it's stuck in air. This is probably the best invention I've built in a long time. Pretty simple too. It's pumping, it's getting air. It feels like enough. Trying to get gas on the seat. Put my fuel cap back on. Good to go. I went and grabbed another battery. That one was sounding weak, and I need a volt gauge. I ain't thought about that, but listen, that sounds much better. That's the scariest part. I was going to bail out of this Jeep, to be honest, is if that battery gets too low, I think it catches on fire, so that would be wonderful. Alright, the angle's probably off. I need my GoPro thing, but need fuel pressure. Let's see what happens. Oh, the seatbelt fell down. Just want to do a test drive, see what it does. Washer fluid low. Settle down in there. Wow, I can hear it getting the air in the system. Headlights on for safety. Coolant low. The dust shield's rubbing. I don't really know why. Sometimes that just happens. The little dust shield just rubs the torque converter bolts. Sounds like it went away. Transmission seems to be doing alright. Well, there's a piece that goes to the door jamb. Oh, this thing's been sitting for about, I don't know, about a year and a half. Don't death bubble. Don't do it. And this window was down. All I did was just roll it up. Works perfect. Transmission may or may not have downshifted. The steering wheel's sticky. Alright, I'm gonna turn this off because it's gonna death wobble. Well, I'll hold you right here. Don't do it, don't do it. I think the camera takes it out of there, but it's trying to, hey, it's got LEDs, I'm pretty sure. Yep, this ain't gonna work. Back to factory tires. Stop it. I love how every post on Marketplace brags about their LED headlights, and a full set of LED headlights for a WJ, a full set is like $12, I'm pretty sure. It's like, why are you even wasting your time? Like, who cares? All right, we'll turn it off. It's running, and we'll make sure we ain't got no leaks, and needs a fuel pump and a head too. Well, I was gonna show Justin his new Jeep, but looks like he's done took off for the day. Who quits at 4 o'clock on Friday? Wow, how broke, I don't know. Yeah, you can see it. LEDs, halogen. They was too cheap to put the LEDs in both of them. Got a vacuum leak back there, so you know it's 034. Yeah, LEDs in that, wow. Burning off the coolant. I mean, it looks like a drip, but we just washed it, so I think all that's good. Pop the hood. About broke my ankle. Yeah, burning off the coolant from the radiator. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It's in there running. Alright, if you're still here, appreciate you watching. I hope I've helped you, and I hope this videos like this work out, because that's literally something I was doing. Like, that motor was getting put in, so if I can put a little more effort in and help people out, maybe just watch it for the entertainment, that would really help me out a lot. So I'll be able to do more tutorial videos instead of concentrating on entertaining videos. So stuff like this. Let's see if it'll run. Have a good day.